Alright, you've got the third episode of Beyond the Wormhole, where we're exploring the Kcalbeloh Planet Pack Mod. I thought before we start the mission, I'd just show a little bit of what we got going on here with this Planet Pack Mod. So it adds this black hole all the way out here. Black hole's called Kcalbeloh, and it's got a few different star systems that actually orbit the black hole. We got maybe like three planets there. We've got like a brown dwarf, hot Jupiter type thing going on. 2 planets there. We've also got like a binary star system out here with a blue star and a smaller red dwarf that orbits it. Got a few planets there. And then this is the system that we've been exploring for the past few episodes. First episode we did this one, which is a tidally locked, oxygenated world where you can use air-breathing engines, called Saluko. That's episode 1. In the second episode, we went to kind of like a deserty world with rings called Sarah. Yeah. Kind of cool. Got some oceans, but no breathable atmosphere. Looks like I've got a plane orbiting that right now. And the system that we're going to be exploring today is called the Simeht and Simetra system, which is a double gas giant binary planetary system, which is crazy. You can do some crazy gravity assists in this system. Which we will get into later, but it has 3 moons. First is Noyreg, which is I think about 0.5 Gs, but it's got an atmosphere 4 times as thick as Kerbin's. And this is Norihc, which is kind of like an ice planet. Not too big either, but it's got a really thin atmosphere. I think it's 0.02 Kerbin atmospheric pressure. And it's got this 3rd moon called Noyreg. It's actually in a retrograde orbit, and it's tiny, and it's boring, as you can see. So we're going to be neglecting a visit to that little celestial body there. But here's a better look at the double gas giants here. We got Simetra and Simeht, and the system altogether is called the Simeht and Simetra system. I wonder if I'm pronouncing that right. But here's the craft that we're using. We actually ended up having extra at the end of this mission, but I always do like a test run through of the mission before I actually record it, and we like almost ran out of fuel. So I must have done something a little bit more efficient with the maneuvers this time. I think I know what it is, but we've got non-atmospheric breathing space plane at the top using aerospike engines, and I think like a 10-stage nuclear interplanetary stage at the top there. This thing doesn't even fit in the VAB, but here we are starting our launch. Got our stage 1 separation there. Now this ship's super heavy. I had to add a bunch of extra engines on there. I think probably the biggest ship I've done in a while. And that's stage 2 right there, boosters out. Here still. So I guess I'll talk a little bit more about the mission plan. So what I'm attempting here is a double moon landing on the double gas giant system. So I'm not landing on the gas giants, but obviously, but I am landing on those 2 atmospheric moons that I showed you, and I'm going to do that in the single launch. So I've got a space plane on the top for Noyreg, which is that green moon that has the really thick atmosphere, and then I've got a smaller kind of like lander can, little lander that I'm going to use for the ice moon, Noyreg, I think it's called. And so I'm going to be using some kind of complex maneuvers to try and save fuel. The whole idea of this series is trying to get as much exploration as possible in the Kcalbeloh Planet Pack Mod, but only using stock parts. Most of the videos that I've seen on this Planet Pack have not had like a proper playthrough all in stock parts. Most of the time people are just jumping into it with some like far future or near future part mods, which I've always like felt like they're a little bit, I mean, I've never really gotten into them. They seem kind of confusing to me. And I've always wondered if they like make things too easy, if that makes sense, because some of the parts are obviously a lot more efficient than what we have in the stock game. So I've been doing this series with stock parts only, so I'm just trying to get as far as I can into this planet pack using stock parts. But just like our last two episodes, I have Outer Planets mod installed, which if you don't know what that is, that's fine, just roll with it. I basically play with it as if it's stock. It just adds kind of like a Saturn analog, a Neptune and Uranus analog to the original KSP system. And it's very stock alike, so the sizes are all similar, the art style is very similar. I just consider it to be almost like non-official stock at this point. I think in the original game plan they were going to add another gas giant past Jool. It was going to be kind of like a ringed system. So I guess you can justify in that sense, but if you don't have OPM installed, you can still use the Kcalbeloh mod. It'll just put the wormhole around Jool, which I guess I should mention. Instead of going the insane distance to the Kcalbeloh system on my own, the mod has placed a wormhole that will orbit the Saturn analog of the Outer Planets mod if you have that installed, or the Jool system if you don't have Outer Planets mod installed. So if you drop into this wormhole below 30,000 kilometers or something like that, you'll enter the wormhole and pop out on the other side. And so the wormhole on the other side in the Kcalbeloh system will pop you out in orbit around Sarah, which is that deserty planet with the rings that I showed you earlier. So here I'm just setting up my flyby in the Sarnus system. I'm trying something a little bit different, as you can see. Instead of doing a gravity assist to capture around Sarnus before entering the wormhole, I'm just trying to thread the needle through the wormhole in interplanetary space. So I'm not even trying to capture around Sarnus. And so the reason I'm doing this is because the Simeht and Simetra system is higher than the Sarah system. So you kind of almost preserve your speed even past the wormhole. And you can kind of see that on the other side. A little bit of it is luck, because you don't exactly know where the wormhole is in orbit around Sarah on the other side. But what I'm going for here is a little bit of a boost as I go past Sarnus through the wormhole that will hopefully save me some fuel on the other side of the wormhole and help me raise my apoapsis above the star up to the Simeht Simetra system, which is farther out than Sarah, if that makes sense. So here I'm just adjusting my flyby to the wormhole. You got to get under 30,000 kilometers to go through if I remember correctly. And I guess I should mention real quick, in case you're wondering about the transfer angle to Sarnus, I've kind of figured it out on my own. I can't give you an exact number, but I think it's like 10 to 15 degrees past 90 degrees. So maybe like 100 degrees or like 105, I don't even know. But like just a little bit more than the Jool transfer window. But the Sarnus system is actually pretty similar to the Jool system, so if any of you are playing this mod without Outer Planets mod installed, you can do the same gravity assist maneuver around Kcalbeloh. Sarnus has a moon that's a lot like Kcalbeloh in its mass. Sarnus is just a little bit farther out, so it's just going to take a little bit more delta V to get to the wormhole. And here we have pulled up on it. You can see it in the distance. You can see Sarnus in the distance there. You can't see its rings right now because we're kind of like on the same plane and they're really thin. The same thing actually happens with Saturn in real life. I think right now Saturn is kind of like directly facing us head on, so if you were to look at it through a telescope, you wouldn't see the rings. There's a certain part of the year where you can't see Saturn's rings, but that's just a little tidbit. But we're actually entering the wormhole right now. Pop this out on the other side. Alright, so we're in the Sarah system. There we are, exiting the wormhole. You can see that black hole in the distance there too. And it looks like it's kind of boosted us a little bit too far out. So I'm going to have to do a little retrograde burn here to lower my orbital height down to that of the Simeht and Simetra binary system. So I'm just setting up that maneuver right now. And now we're going to adjust the inclination. So to do that, you just put a maneuver node at one of your ascending or descending nodes. Whichever one's highest above the body that you're actually orbiting around will be more fuel efficient to change your inclination at. Just a little tip there. So I'm at that one up near my apoapsis, and it looks like I'm going to have to make another little adjustment there. But we're going to get on that inclination, matching Simeht Simetra. I find that like being on like an exact plane as like a system really helps with getting a good gravity assist if you're trying to do like a gravity assist maneuver. And so we're going to be attempting a gravity assist around the Simeht Simetra system to help us capture around it. So it's kind of like the same maneuver that you would do around Kcalbeloh to capture around Jool, but it's kind of tricky because I feel like the original game's not really designed to handle this many like sphere of influence changes, but you just play with it, you know. As long as you have two different bodies to work with in space, you can do some sort of gravity assist, I think. So, looks like I got something there. I think I'm going to go with that. So our first, the moon that we're going to be exploring in this episode is Noyreg, which is that green orbital line that my little red orbital line will intersect with. But one thing you gotta keep in mind, or I guess remember when you're doing gravity assists around this system is actually the first few times I was playing around with it, I accidentally gravity assisted myself into a capture around the system, but in a retrograde orbit. For some reason it seems easy to do that. So just make sure to double check the direction of your orbit. Looks like we've got that gravity assist capture there. But yeah, this system's really tricky, so I just recommend like playing around with it, and you'll most likely get some sort of capture eventually. So we're pulling up here. There they are. Kind of a crazy sight. I have no idea if this system would be stable in real life for very long. But it's cool to explore. So it looks like we're being bent around this planet, which I think is Simeht, the icier one, the bluer one. I'm not sure which one is which, but very cool sight. And so I just set Noyreg as my target, and what we're gonna have to do here is raise our periapsis above that of the two gas giants so that they don't like fling us out of the system on accident on our next pass around. So just gonna accelerate prograde to raise my periapsis on the other side, as you can see here. There we go. We should be safe for the next few orbits. And I'm just adjusting my inclination again to be on track to intercept Noyreg in a few orbits. And it looks like we have just a natural intercept in like 2 orbits, so that's lucky. The star that these planets orbit, it's called Sunorc. I don't think it's as big as Kerbin, and it's a little bit more reddish than Kerbin. I don't think it's as bright either, so my ship kind of just seems especially dark right now, which I wonder if that's just because we're farther away from the star and it's not as bright of a star to begin with. But I've just you might see me in the video just taking a few spacewalks to try and get a good thumbnail image for the video. Very cool sight. Very dark though, like I was saying. And so we're just gonna start preparing our Noyreg flyby. And we're gonna do a capture burn here in a second. So I believe that Noireg's atmosphere boundary is at like 95,000 kilometers, something like that, or 95,000 meters. I don't know if I've been saying that wrong the whole time. I think I have. That would be 9 kilometers and 300, I don't even know. Don't listen to me. But here we are, pulling up. So, just give you a quick retrograde burn here. Cool little window view. Doing a little spacewalk for the thumbnail, you know what I'm saying? And so some of the bodies in this planet pack have like little science experiment readouts that you can do if you want to like collect science. Kind of cool if you want to read them. I think we're like good and proper circularized here. So oh, it looks like I burned a little bit too far on that last one. So I'm just fixing it. Just picking out a spot to land. Kind of hard though because of the clouds, but it's pretty rocky. There's no oceans or anything as far as I can tell. But because the atmosphere is so thick, it's really easy to land at a really slow speed, so it's really nice to fly in actually. And so I just dropped off my space plane there and sped back up with the mothership, so my space plane should be on. Oh, I think I just blew up my space, my solar panels there. But I've got a nuclear reactor on the ship, so we should be good on power. But here we are with the space plane preparing to enter the atmosphere. Because the gravity's pretty low, your orbital speed's actually not going to be that high. Like in the back, in my nav ball there, you can see it's only like 1,500 meters per second right now. So it's not too easy to overheat here. So it's actually a breeze to fly in this moon's atmosphere. Like you can see there, my speed not super high. So it might get a little fiery, but I don't think I got close to overheating and exploding this time. There's some really huge canyons though. That one that we're passing over is visible from space. If you can see that, I think those cliff walls are like hundreds of meters high. Or like hundreds of feet. I'm gonna be straight up. I'm an American, so not super familiar with the whole meters thing, but you know, I try. It's a big cliff, is what I'm saying. really starting to dip into the thicker parts of the atmosphere here. So you can see my plane's actually super responsive in the thick atmosphere, and you still have really good control under 100 meters a second. So it's pretty easy to land. That's probably the smoothest touchdown I've ever done in a Kerbal space program, to be real with y'all. Alright, I'm just going to taxi over to this little more flat part over here. Alright, we're here. Time to do our EVA. Gonna plant a flag. It's kind of dark on this moon. It's really cloudy and hazy. It has really cool purple sunsets though, as you'll see in a second. I was thinking like maybe I'd walk over to the top of this hill to get a better look at those mountains over there, but then I was like, nah, that's too far away. So I'm walking back here. But something I like to do on little places that I visit is I like to just see the sunsets and the sunrises. Kind of cool. Especially to see those two gas giants in the sky there and the black hole there on the horizon. Really cool. Crazy purple sunsets. Really cool. Cooler than Eve in my opinion, for sure. Not that this is much like Eve, but you know. Anyway, I think that's enough sightseeing for now. We're going to start our rendezvous with the mothership. So I just set it as my target. Just lining myself up with my target in orbit, and I'm just trying a pretty slow ascent because the atmosphere is really thick. Don't need all that excess drag. Pretty cool view there. Just planning out a circularization burn. Now we're just gonna fix our inclination so that we can meet back up with the mothership. There we go. Now it's time to set up a flyby. Okay, we got that close encounter there. There we go. So we're going to be pulling up on the mothership here in just a second for our rendezvous. Now just switch the nav ball to target and burn retrograde to target until you're at 0. There it is down there. So now I'm just pointing towards the target, burning towards it, and then I'm going to slow back down again once I get a little closer. And I just repeat that process till I get close enough. And then I'm switching control to my docking port, and I'm just selecting the other ship's docking port as target and burning towards it. We got it docked there. And so I think that's going to be it for this episode. In the second episode, we're going to be going to the ice moon that I showed you guys earlier. But yeah, part 1. Thanks, guys.